Can y'all hear me? I hope y'all can hear me. Y'all better can hear me. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Somebody put I can hear you in the comments. I want to make sure y'all can hear me. Because this thing be acting up when it want to. It's crazy. Piss me off. Anyway, so yeah, I predict 5 years, somewhere around 5 years. You know, no more than seven. No more than seven. But I don't think he's gonna get actually seven. I don't see him getting seven. Um, because of the charges that he was convicted of. Not the charges that he was charged with, just only the ones he was convicted of. I don't foresee him getting seven. Thank you, Bridge. Shout out to Bridge, man. Thank you for that. Thank you for the love, Bridge. Thank you for the love. All right, so yeah, I don't see him getting less than five, and that's based off of the experience that I have in the prison system. For those that don't know, I went to the feds for bank robbery. I was convicted back in 2024, no 2004. I'm sorry, and I did. I was sentenced to 108 months. I got out 8.5 years later. I was out for about 3 years, and then I got violated on violation, and I went back to federal prison. I did time at Beaumont USP, which is in Texas. I also did time in Coleman USP, and I did time in Atlanta USP. And I'm doing this stream because we're going to actually look at some of the footage or some of the places that um, Diddy may do time at. So let's start with the places that I actually did some time at. Like I said, I went to Beaumont USP. So I'm gonna pull some footage of that actual prison and how things go in that prison. I think they should have like tours of some of these prisons. Like this one right here. This is Beaumont USP. This is where I went to prison. This was the first prison that I went to. Beaumont USP. This is a high security federal prison. This is exactly how the prison in the unit looks. This is how the unit looks in the federal prison in Beaumont USP. I was there from about 2005 to 2007. I was at Beaumont USP. I saw a lot of shit there, but this is exactly how it looks. It's normal. It's typical like any other federal prison. It actually doesn't have that many tables. I think this is like a special unit. They kind of filmed this because it was empty. That's like a special unit. But this is how it looks from an aerial view. And I don't know if can you see my arrows? Let me see. Can you see my arrows on here? Yeah, you can see my arrows. All right, so right here, this is where you enter the prison. All right, this is Beaumont USP. This is where you enter the prison right here. Now, this is the intake area and all that. Now, around in this area is where the inmates are released. No, 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 no. Actually, this over here is the USP. This might be the medium, the FCI. This is the USP over here. I don't know why they got it. Why they're filming the FCI here, because that is not how it actually looks. And I know that because it's taller buildings over here. So that's how I know that's the USP, because it's built like projects. It's literally built like projects. Let me see if I can find another video of Beaumont USP. Bloody Beaumont. I remember I remember a lot of brothers that lost their life at Beaumont USP. Let me see. Beaumont Medium High. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this is a perfect example. This video is a perfect example of this is actually FCI. This is the Beaumont FCI, according to the title, but it's a medium high, so it's kind of like the same thing. So if like a war breaks out between the blacks and the whites over at the penitentiary or even at the medium, if a war breaks out, then it will spread over to the other prisons that's nearby. And if it's a big enough war, it's going to spread out throughout the entire federal system. Every USP, like let's say the blacks and the whites get into it, and this is just an example because that rarely happens where the blacks and the whites get into it. That may happen once a year, but it's like diminished real quick. But let's say the blacks and the whites get into it, and there's a knifing on the yard. Somebody gets knocked off. He up out of here. And then a war ensues, and the word is going to spread fast because at the same time that the war goes down, people are on the phone. People are on their cell phones in the cell. So they're talking to other inmates at other prisons. So it's going to spread real quick that there is a war going on at this particular prison between the black. They're going to know the whole story. So at the next prison, there's going to be another war to start. So everybody gets punished when you're in the prison. So that's why you got to always be on your P's and Q's. So yeah, that's the Aryan Brotherhood right there fighting. I could tell. That's the Aryan Brotherhood out there fighting. Oh nah, them the Mexicans. Them Mexicans. Yeah, them Mexicans. Them the Mexicans going at it right there. They jumped somebody for whatever reason. It might be because he's a snitch. Yeah, this is the FCI, but it's the same thing that goes on at the USPs. And you see, they sprayed the mace right there. Yeah, those are the Mexicans. Look like it might have been that might be the Texas Syndicates or the Mexican Mafia. It looked like it might be the Mexican Mafia. Could be the Mexican Mafia. But yeah, this happens, on a regular basis at Beaumont USP. Um, I would pull out some pictures of me. That's the Beaumont USP prison. So if you go to, Street Elements, they got a video up. No, that's Big Sandy. If you go to YouTube and type in, Beaumont USP, you'll definitely see a lot of videos. Not inside videos normally, but there's many videos on YouTube about Beaumont USP and how dangerous it is. Now, I tell you this much though, Diddy and the charges that he has, Diddy is not going to a USP. So you have several levels, different levels of federal prisons. Let's type that in. Levels of federal prison. All right, you got different levels of federal prisons. You have the USPs. You have the mediums. This is probably a good picture image right here. You have the USPs, the mediums, and then you have the highs. Then you have the lows, and then you have the minimum, which is basically you already in the streets. You back in the streets. So with Diddy's charge, he's probably going to end up and because he's high profile, he's probably going to end up in a medium low, which right here is security level. If you look at security level, a medium low, your points are very low. You have 12 to 15 points or 12 to 23 points in order to get a medium low. And his is going to be low because he doesn't have a criminal record. So he's probably going to get a medium low. My thing, matter of fact, I know for a fact when I came into prison, I came in with 28 points off the rip. So they had me already at a USP just coming in the door. I was at a USP coming in the door. So yeah, that Diddy's gonna probably be around a low and a medium. Now, the lows and the mediums. Let's see. Security levels. Federal prison security levels. Mm. All right, so the highs are in the dark blue, and the medium and lows are kind of a light blue in different spots. So, being that he's from New York, there's plenty of places up in this area that he can go because they're going to try to keep him, close to home. They don't usually ship you way out unless you're a danger or they'll send you to Florence, Colorado over here, which is the max. If you were, which they could do to him, but he's not. He doesn't have that many points. They can't just send him to that. But he'll probably stay in the New York, Philadelphia, the DMV area. And there's plenty of prisons over there. He's not going to do prison in the state of New York because I don't think New York actually has a federal prison. I could be wrong. Anybody that knows, let me know in the comments. I could be wrong about that. It could be federal prisons in New York. I have no idea. But yeah, there's plenty of different places he can go when it comes to federal prisons. Now, another prison that I went to. Here's another video about Bloody Beaumont. Let me see. I'm actually looking for some original footage, which is hard to find in these content making days. This is actually a picture, an image of. I'm gonna go on a whim and say this is the Aryan Brotherhood. I'm looking at. Oh yeah, swastika on the arm. That's a perfect example of what group that a person may be in. Whenever you hit a yard, you look at the tattoos. If you see certain tattoos, you know who they with. So this guy right here has the swastika on his forearm. This is an image of Bloody Beaumont. This is a image of Bloody Beaumont. I know because I know the wall. I know the damn wall. I know the wall. So this is an image of Bloody Beaumont. But yeah, that swastika on his arm, is a sign that he's in the Aryan Brotherhood. And this guy in the middle is 9 times out of 10 the shot caller of the Aryan Brotherhood on that yard. The younger guy is next to him is probably the enforcer. The images, they say a lot. They take images a certain way to show you seniority levels. But yeah, the guy right here, the younger guy right here, to his right, is probably like the enforcer. He's the guy that is gonna enforce all shots being called by the shot caller. The other guy to his left that looks kind of Mexican to me is like the second in command. So this guy right here is most likely going to be the shot caller if something happens to this guy. Like that, let's say he gets shipped off to another prison, or he gets put in the hole, or God forbid something happened to him, and he's whatever happens. And 9 times out of 10, this guy right here, this older cat, is going to be next in line. Now these other outsiders, they're either like new on the yard, but they still have their respect. They have people that may know them already, but they're still kind of like in a prospect stage, meaning nobody can really trust them just yet. Just enough to take a picture to look like their numbers getting big. To be honest with you, hell, these might be the only motherfuckers on the yard that's airing your brother wood. No lie. And I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny about that. Like that's real. That it happens. Like their numbers will go down quick. And it might be after a war. You know what I mean? It might be they might have been 15, 20 deep at one point. A war go down, they lose 6 of their soldiers. And this is what's left. So yeah, this is a typical image of, Beaumont USP prison images. Let's see if I can find some on Google. Oh yeah, I remember this. This was Beaumont USP. I was at Beaumont USP when Katrina hit. Real talk. When Katrina hit back in 2000, what was that, 5? 4? Was it 2005? When Katrina hit, I was inside of Beaumont USP prison. And actually the prison itself saved us. Because that's a strong prison. I'm talking about we was right in the middle of it. The eye came through there. Like real shit, right? And we literally just looked out of the window and just watched the whole storm. We watched trees being uprooted from the ground, man, and just flying off. Like our basketball court was destroyed. It was just so much, but anything on the inside of the buildings was safe. So that's one thing about prisons. I can tell you, they built them to last. They build them to last. You can't just up and escape from them. But yeah, so these are some of the prisons that I personally know about that Diddy may attend. Let's see what kind of prisons Diddy may attend on the East Coast. Medium federal prisons. I'll say he goes to a medium on the East Coast. And I do believe he'll stay on the East Coast as well. All right, medium, you got Petersburg, FCI. Let's see. Petersburg, FCI. That is in Hopewell City, Virginia. That's in Virginia. I don't know if he'll go to that particular one. You got Lewisburg, FCI. FCI means medium. Federal Correction Institution. That's what FCI stands for. But it also means it's a medium. It's not a USP or a high security USP. Security levels. Different prisons. More or less USP. Images. You got Forest City. Did I say Forest City already? You got Petersburg. You got Allenwood. Now, Allenwood is a possible place where Diddy will go. He's going to prison. I don't care what nobody say. He is not getting out today. They're going to get him some time. And he's going to prison. I don't know why they're showing this picture again. But it's possible that, these prisons could look the same. It's like the same video from Beaumont USP. Oh, they capping. They doing a bunch of lying on here. That's what they doing. I bet this the same video too, right here. Oh, it's a website. Okay. What? FCI. I bet it's the same video. Same video. Ah, man, these folks be lying like a mother. Folks be lying. These folks be lying, man. Anyway, medium federal prisons. All right. Coleman USP. I mean FCI. Now, I've been to Coleman. USP. Now Coleman USP has two different USPs. You have one and you have the two. We're still waiting for the Diddy verdict. It's not come in yet. It is 4:38. I got it. I got us getting the verdict before 5:30. That's what I got us getting the verdict before 5:30. All right, let's see. FCI Coleman. Same video. Man, these folks so cap. He's in front of Coleman. See, Coleman has it's like 5 different prisons. You have the FCI, which is the medium. You have 1 and 2 USP, which is both highs. You have the low, FCI low, or Coleman low, actually. And then you have the Coleman camp. See, camps is like real low. These are people that have basically no criminal record. They just probably got caught with some dope or something like that, and they get federal prison. They all got under 5 years. That's what happens at a camp, and they can leave the yard. They can actually leave the yard. Yeah, they can actually leave the yard. Like they can. Man, I done seen dudes go home and have a junkie spend a night in their bed. And that's here in Atlanta USP. Atlanta USP, they used to do that all the time. The people be coming home, driving in their regular cars, and be actually doing federal time. That's a true story. I done seen people do it. All right, so we still waiting on Diddy verdict. It hasn't come back yet, but we're gonna get to it. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna catch it, see what they're talking about. But again, I claim or I predict 5 years, no less than 5 years total, with 7-year max. 7-year max. And that's basically only because of the charges he have and because he's such a high profile case. I predict that. All right. With that being said, this is Coleman Federal Prison right here. Now, this is the outside of it. I don't know. This is the camp. Remember I was telling you that Coleman has several levels on one complex. They have the camp, they have the low, they have the medium, and they have 2 highs, which is USPs. And the high prisons, the federal prison, that's where all the stuff go down at. That's where all the stabbings and that's where people lose their life at. That's a lot of these cats that come home and they say they've been to prison, they did this and that, and they be trying to act tough. A lot of them, they only make it home because they wasn't at a high. There's very few, especially rappers that I know of that's been to federal prison, that's out now, that's really popping they shit. They only doing it because they ain't never really been to a real prison. And if there's any questioning about if there was a police or if they snitched or not, trust me, they ain't go to a USP Because if you went to a USP, you wouldn't have to even have that debate. But yeah, we're gonna see what happens with this Diddy case. I'll be right back. So 4 years, 4 years. You heard it here live. 4 years. You heard it live. He got 4 years. Well, I mean, I was close. 5 years. They just showed him some sympathy, but yeah, he got 4 years in prison. He got 50 months. 60 months would have been 5 years. So his whole life ahead of him. So yeah, you heard it here first. Diddy gets 4 years in prison. 4 years and I think 2 months. Which, like I said, with the type of charge that he has, I said 5 years. Um, okay, I was off the year. Who cares? But 4 years, 5 years, what's the difference? He already has 14 months in, which is basically a year. So he's gonna do 3 more years. In about 2 years, he'll be in a halfway house, and he's gonna be all right. Diddy's gonna be all right, man. So it's not a total loss. He only got 4 years. That ain't bad at all. That ain't bad at all. That ain't bad at all. And it's all about him learning a lesson here anyway. It's not even about how much time he got. But it would have been bad if he had got 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. That would have killed him and his career. But you know, 2 years and he go home on halfway house, and by the time he get home, he ain't gonna want to celebrate. He ain't gonna want to do no parties because he gonna think about everything he did, and don't worry about him getting no vengeance from nobody. Uh, he's gonna be on a whole different path when he comes home, man. So yeah, Diddy gets 4 years in prison. I ain't mad at him about that. I ain't mad at. I am not mad about that. 4 years in prison. That is not a. That's not a bad deal at all. But I wouldn't expect it to be bad for the charges that he was found guilty of anyway. So, yeah. Yep, there you have it, people. Diddy is sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison. Like I said, he's already done 14 months. So that will be added to his sentence. Now, I think he, if I'm not mistaken, no, he never got a bond. So yeah, that'll be added to his sentence, which will cut it down to about 2.5 or 2 years and 10 months. He'll have left to do. He will be in a halfway house within a year and a half, and he will quietly enter back into society through the halfway house. He has plenty of money while he's in prison, which is probably going to be about a year and a half in prison, which it's going to move slow to him. To us, it's going to fly by. But to him, it's going to move slow. And he's gonna formulate. Diddy's a pretty smart dude, so he's gonna come up with good ideas while he's in prison. He's gonna meet a bunch of people that he's gonna get ideas to do good businesses or create good businesses with that will have nothing to do with the bad boy brand. He's gonna create other brands that some of you will never connect him to. I guarantee you. He's going to do that, and he's going to come out, and that $1 billion that he was chasing, he's going to get it. Because when he comes out of prison, he's going to have the knowledge and everything he needs to... This slowed him down. This calmed him down. He was moving fast. He thought he was untouchable. Now that he knows he can be touched, and he still has money left, he knows exactly what to do with it this time. It happened to me. The same thing happened to me. So I already know. That's why you don't see me being flashy. I don't care how much money you think I got. You'll never know, right? Because I know what people are looking for when they want to make you a target. I know when what the FBI is looking for when you're a target. And, not that I'm doing anything wrong, but if I was, you wouldn't even know. Because I've learned my lesson. I've been through the system, just like he's about to go through the system and learn his lesson on how to move when you are a influencer and you're rich and you're in a position that a Diddy would be in. And I think he just learned a lot, and he's just gonna move. He's gonna move accordingly this time around. I truly believe that. So shout out to Diddy. 4 years and 2 months, that is the sentence, and you heard it here first, people. So yeah, I gotta go, man. We're gonna wrap it up because it's over with. Diddy got sentenced. It is what it is. Peace, love, and light. We gone.